Hello everybody and welcome back to the Film Ignite channel. It's been a long time since I did something like this, so I want to start this off with sort of a intro update. Basically, I started this channel in July of 2021, and my original intent was to make a channel where I basically just talk about movies and TV shows, just because it's something that I really enjoy. I just really enjoy movies and I really enjoy TV shows. I just enjoy film of all kinds, right? So I basically made this channel as a way for me to be able to talk about this, because, you know, just sort of express my thoughts on a lot of different things and just have some fun with it overall. And I started it with this thing that I called the Film Ignite podcast. Basically what it was just me talking about a specific movie every week, or a TV show or a film related topic. So I'm basically revamping that to make it this now. So instead of it being called the Film Ignite podcast, I'm just calling it Film Ignite. That's the name of the show, the series, where I'm just going to be talking about movies, shows, or anything related. So there's already 12 episodes that I've done of this, of me. All right, let's just run through it quickly. The first episode, Saw, Pulp Fiction, Tenet, Terminator 1, Terminator 2, A Quiet Place Part 2, The Social Network, and then my 8th episode, I did like a special episode where I talked about what is the perfect length for a movie, right? Then episode 9, Prisoners, City of God, Perfect Blue, Breaking Bad. That was my original run. I ran it every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I really enjoyed doing it. I would write scripts for all of them. I took it really seriously, and I'm really actually proud of how those came out. I had a whole Spotify account set up and everything. I had the podcast put in a whole bunch of different places. But then as I moved more into the YouTube stuff, I realized that was more in line with what I wanted to do. And I just enjoyed it a lot more, and it was more suitable for the type of content that I was going to make anyway. So that's been gone, but the podcast episodes are still on YouTube. I uploaded them alongside on YouTube as well. Then, I started getting into other stuff. Obviously, my main focus right now is the Attack on Titan reaction, so I never continued this series. But you know what? I've been inspired lately to come back to it and revisit it and do it again, but with a revamped nature. So I'm going to continue. So this is going to be episode 13, but it's no longer called the Film Ignite podcast. It's just going to be called Film Ignite. Every episode is going to be a topic related to movies or TV. In this particular case, it happens to be a movie, Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, listen, I don't know how often I'm going to do these. This is just more of a personal thing that I just wanted to do because it's what I started doing in the first place. And I have to keep the original nature of what I was doing alive. Otherwise, what's the point of me doing this, right? And I enjoy it. Hopefully you enjoy listening to me talk about it. I'm not going to have scripts for these. This is going to be totally off the cuff, just some quick notes, and then I'll just be speaking my mind. The other episodes that I did, which I highly recommend you check out. I actually put a lot of work into those, writing the scripts for those, really detailed, some backstory stuff. The Breaking Bad one was, I think, like 50 minutes. Script was like 8 pages. I did some research and then sort of went through all the seasons, talking about the technical stuff, the story stuff I like. I sort of just like break this stuff down. I don't want to call it a review because I'm not really reviewing. I'm just sort of talking about it, really. And it's like my thing that I said at the beginning was, for all things film and TV, this is the place to be. So if you want to ignite discussion on that stuff too, hence the name Film Ignite, leave some comments down below. Let's have a discussion about whatever the topic is. Like I said, not really having a schedule for these. I don't know if it's going to be weekly, or I'll kind of just get them done whenever. And before it was just audio. Now you have something to look at. Hopefully, this is more engaging than just listening to me speak. But let's just get into it. All right. So, topic of today: Spider-Man No Way Home, biggest event of 2021. Okay, it's still hard to believe that this movie came out already. It's hard to believe the hype for this movie. That's what I want to start off with. The hype, the initial train. Okay, no, what I should start off with actually is the fact that I made a video, I think around Halloween. I think it was around Halloween, and it was called Spider-Man No Way Home Will Disappoint You. Man, someone in my comments commented, get ratioed by Marvel. I absolutely did. I absolutely did get ratioed by Marvel because Basically, it was kind of a pretentious ass video, but like deep down, that video, like I don't recommend you watch it. It's just me blabbing about shit. But basically, what I was saying was, I was deep down just frustrated that people kept trying to prove without actual evidence that Toby and Andrew were in the movie, right? And like obviously I wanted them to be in the movie, but deep down I was kind of just salty that people were just ruining the surprise and were saying with 100% certainty, yeah, they're going to be in the movie. Obviously I was wrong. They were in the movie, but it's not like I didn't want them to be, right? But it's just the fact that people were so out of their way to prove that they were. Like, I just wish some stuff wasn't out there. I wish some images didn't get leaked. I wish some people just wanted to enjoy the 100% blind experience like I did. I get that a lot of people just want to be the first one to, do stuff on the internet and whatever, but there were so many images, so many leaks, that so much speculation, but nothing from the actual marketing of the movie. Every single trailer, no poster, no nothing indicated that they were going to be in the movie, right? So then you see all these people on TikTok like think they're freaking like geniuses, like, yeah, I actually I'm gonna confirm on Tuesday at 4 p.m. it's gonna have a special trailer dropping confirming they're in the movie. It's like, bro, like these people were treating it like a full-time job, analyzing whether they were going to be in the movie. Like when that second trailer came out with all it was like the scene, it was just Tom Holland going against like the Sandman, the lizard and everything, and it was like, oh, the lizard got punched by somebody invisible. Like Sony low-key and Marvel low-key fumbled the bag on that one. If they just maybe didn't include that shot, I think a lot of people would have been thrown off, because I think that was a shot that did it for a lot of people. But before that, there were still so many people speculating, like, okay, first of all, the whole premise was the multiverse, right? And there was reports later on that John Watts, the director, actually wanted to keep the multiverse thing like a surprise. Like he didn't want to put that in the trailers or anything, which would have been amazing. But knowing how this secret already got kept, it would have probably been spoiled out there somehow. But I wonder how they would have marketed the movie regardless, because that's kind of the whole point of the movie. I wonder if they maybe would have went the like advertise it as Spider-Man versus Doctor Strange for whatever reason, like the spell just messed up him and then he turned evil or something. Would have been a good subversion of expectations. But I'm fine with what they did. I think the first trailer was perfect because it only ended with Doc Ock sort of coming in at the end. That was all I really needed. I didn't really want to watch the second trailer because I thought it would spoil too much. It didn't really spoil that much because although the trailers basically told you every single villain's back and showed you them pretty much, it didn't explain like what their deal was and what's the plot with them was going to be. So like what I'm getting at is the entire plot line of them like coming to this universe, and then Tom Holland, Spider-Man, is wanting to get them back to actually save them, and the whole thing of like capturing them one by one, bringing them back to this place. I didn't know about any of that. That was a good surprise, honestly, because I didn't know how, like, I didn't know what was going to happen. Like, was Doc Ock, Green Goblin just going to show up and they're just going to fight and try and kill him or like arrest them? Like, what's the deal? So it was a good surprise to see that that's what they did. It was a way to complete Tom's trilogy, which I know I'm sort of speaking all over the place here. I haven't done this in a while, but I started off talking about the hype of this movie and how I made this pretentious ass video. I was wrong. They were in it. But deep down, I just kind of wish people would just chilled out a little bit on the spoilers and stuff. Now, like, because I know there was that scene when Andrew Garfield sort of like leaning back on with his hand over a pole. And as soon as I saw that scene, it's like this moment you're like, damn, I remember seeing that leak so long ago. It was the one that everyone said, oh, it's Photoshop or whatever. So many YouTubers were doing like videos on it, like VFX artists react and analyze, is this like a deep fake or something? You can see it's shot for shot of him like leaning over the thing, and there was like a blue background in the photo, but obviously it's affected in the movie. It was just crazy to me that people would go to such high lengths to prove something Like, I personally don't understand. I would rather have just not known anything about it, maybe speculate, oh, you think they'd be in the movie? I don't know, maybe they would, but like, it'd be a big surprise. It would be really cool, but I'm not gonna like sit here researching 6 hours a day, finding leaks and screenshots. It just ruins it for me a little bit. And although the overall experience was still a good one, if people just relaxed a little bit, I think a lot more people would have went absolutely insane when that scene happened. I will talk about that scene, but anyway, so all right, so moving on from the initial hype of this movie, not even moving on, we gotta talk about this a little bit longer because the hype for this movie was immaculate because of all the rumors and all the speculation that they were going to be in it. Not only that, but also just the fact that, bro, all the OGs are coming back. Like, that alone, even if they weren't in the movie, Tom and Andrew I'm talking about, Toby and Andrew is what I'm talking about. Even if they weren't, just having sorry, I'm going to butcher his name, Alfred Molina and Willem Dafoe alone, bro, alone. Like, stop right there. You sold me already. Like, come on, they're coming back. And then not only that, every other villain is back. Jamie Foxx, Electro, the Lizard, the Sandman. All you're missing is Venom, bro. That's all I'm saying. All you're missing is Tom Hardy, but we'll get to that later. I just think the initial hype for this movie was amazing. I can honestly say I was probably more hyped for this movie than Endgame, because with Endgame I got into like the MCU sort of late. I think the first MCU movie I watched in theaters was like Guardians of the Galaxy, if I'm being totally honest. Like, I never was originally into like the Iron Man, the Avengers. Like, the first Avengers I didn't see until I think like 2015 maybe or something like that. It was only after Guardians of the Galaxy that I started consistently seeing them in theaters. I think that it was Civil War. Then it was like Ant-Man or something. And then I think, what came after that? I think Ultron was in between those. I didn't watch Ultron in theaters. I remember watching Black Panther. I might be skipping a few, but then basically everything in the more recent ones, like Black Panther, obviously Infinity War, Endgame, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Captain Marvel, the Spider-Man, Far From Home, all that stuff. More recent stuff. I was never into it in the early days, but the Spider-Man movies are different because I fucking grew up on the Tobey Maguire ones. Spider-Man 1, that was my shit. Okay, that was my shit. I used to watch that movie so much. Like, when I was like younger, I used to think Spider-Man 1 was the best out of the original 3, and then, you know, I watched 2 and 3 more, and like those 3. I think 1 and 3 I ended up watching the most. When I was younger, I didn't really like 2 that much when I was younger. I thought it was kind of boring, whatever. But now, like, present day, I've definitely seen the Spider-Man 3 the most. I think out of any Spider-Man movie, I've seen Spider-Man 3 the most. It's just been on. Like, if it's on, I'm gonna watch it. If any of them are on, I'll watch it. But like, I just feel like 3 is the one that I've seen the most. So it's a different experience when you like grew up with it. Like, Endgame, Infinity War, all that stuff, it still hit for me because like characters like Iron Man, Captain America, they're already like pop culture phenomenons, right? But I wasn't even there from the beginning, so I can only imagine how hard it hit for people that were there since Iron Man 1, how much more that death would have hit, and just the entire experience of seeing the whole universe come to this one movie. Like, I still could appreciate it and enjoy it, but I'm sure someone who's been there since day one would appreciate it even more than I could, which is what I felt with this movie. Because then even like the Andrew Garfield movies, like, I saw both in the movie theaters, and I have my thoughts and opinions on those movies. The one thing that remains is that Andrew Garfield is amazing as Peter Parker and Spider-Man, but the movies kind of yeah, you know, pretty not the greatest. And then you got the Tom Holland Spider-Man, you know, been building up since Civil War. So it's not even like this is like, it's not like he just had his own Spider-Man story. No, he's been in the event, like this MCU, bro. It's like in Civil War, then he's got Homecoming, then he's got Far From Home, Endgame, Infinity War. Like, so much of a bigger story to be told. He's been in like 5 movies already. Meanwhile, Andrew only got 2, well, technically 3 now, and Toby's been in 3, but basically, the hype for this movie was just so insane for me, mainly because like this is just something that you grow up with. When you just grow up with it, it just hits different when you see them all on the screen together. So yeah, that's the initial hype. The hype was there. In all honesty, I think it delivered. I really do. I think it delivered in what people wanted from it. What it didn't deliver on, in my personal opinion, okay, is the plot. Because I think the plot of this movie is borderline stupid, borderline bad, okay? Listen, like, I want to put this in a way that doesn't sound like I'm being like too picky or annoying, but I just think that the overall premise and the way that it all unfolded felt a little forced, a little bit, I don't want to say lame, but I just want to say, like, could they not have thought of something else? Maybe I can't sit here and say I would have done it any better, but I don't know. The way that everything unfolds, it starts off, Peter Parker, obviously Quentin Beck sold him out in front of the whole city, right? So everyone knows who he is. He's got to get MJ out of there, blah, 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 blah. He gets in the house. Everyone knows he's Spider-Man. Then you got the Daredevil cameo. Listen, I never watched Daredevil. When he showed up on the screen, I'm like, oh, that's cool. I don't really care because I don't watch Daredevil. I'm sure if you do, that was another awesome moment for you. But personally for me, I didn't really care that much because I never watched it. He shows up, all this stuff, right? And then basically what happens is MJ and Ned can't get into their university that they want to go to, MIT or something, I don't remember, because of their relationship to him. So then he decides to go to Doctor Strange to make everyone except for like them two, Aunt May, and he says a few other names, right? Except for them. Everyone else forget who I am, don't remember me, except for them, so that everything can just go back to normal, right? And he just does it. Like, Doctor Strange just does it. Like, he's been through a lot, honestly. Yeah, he's been through come on, like Wong's like, yo, like, what? You're like, no, we don't just throw around spells for stupid kids. He's like, the kid's been through a lot. Like, okay, first of all, kid's been through a lot. You were in fucking space with him on moons fighting Thanos, and you're about to see your type of, he's been through a lot. His identity's just been revealed. Like, hello? You were in deep shit up there when he was throwing moons down at you guys, and now you want to sit here and say, oh, yeah, he's been through a lot. He really deserves this. This is the time that he should, get special treatment. For me, it feels out of character, especially for Doctor Strange as a character, like how how calculated and like analytical and just like stern he is, and he's too smart to do something that stupid. He just is. Like, how often has he even interacted with him besides with the times in freaking in Infinity War? Like, I just don't. It felt so out of character for him to even consider doing the spell, and not only consider it, just adamantly do it without any second thought. Okay, and like they even say while he's doing it, it's like, I think they put this in as a joke. It's like after he does the spell, Peter fucks it up or whatever, and then all this shit happens, right? And then after the spell, he's like, he says something like, oh, you didn't even like, ask them or tell them that you were gonna do this, or you didn't like, talk to the admissions office first, or something along those lines for the sake of a joke. So it's like, oh, what, you could have done that, so why did I just do this? But it comes off so stupid because that's the question you should have asked. Both of you should have asked the most obvious question. Oh, because he ends up just going to talk to the admissions officer, finding her in some car on the street to, please let my friends in. It's okay that you don't let me in, but they didn't do anything wrong. And those are like, you could have just done that. Why'd you have to go and fuck up with the whole universe with a spell for your own selfish reasons? that's another thing. It's such an extremely childish decision for him to want to do that, right? And I'm okay with him still being able to make a childish decision, but I'm not okay with Doctor Strange just allowing it to happen and then only thinking of it after the fact, after you just did it and he fucked it up. Excuse me. Like, I don't understand. That is kind of where it loses me a little bit, because this is all for college admissions. I'm not sure what else in his life would have changed if it wasn't for this, because he wasn't arrested. He wasn't on house arrest anymore. He was free to just live his life. Yeah, people would still know who he was, but the only reason he did this spell in particular was MJ and Ned's college admissions. And I don't know. It's not like, okay, yes, this is the perfect way to introduce this. It feels very forced. I don't want to say it's forced, because it had to happen somehow. He had to have done a spell somehow, but okay, listen, I don't read the comics. If this is how it happened in the comics, I'm sorry. I know it can't be changed, but I'm just speaking about it as how I'm thinking. Like, I'm just critiquing what happened, okay? I just personally believe they could have found a better, more realistic, in-character way for them to do it. I don't know how. I don't know why. That's one of my main gripes with this movie, is just how it starts. How we get to where we get is a childish decision by Peter Parker and a even worse decision by Doctor Strange to even go through with it. That's where my main issue lies in this movie. But after that is when things get into this is what you came for. You saw in the trailer that he did the spell and fucked it up. You just want that shit to get over with so we can get to the good stuff, okay? And it happens fairly quickly. I think about 30 minutes into the movie, we're on the highway. You hear the thuds, you hear the rumbling, you've seen the trailer, you already know who's coming, right? You see the arm bust through, you're just like, fuck, I can't believe this actually happened. I can't believe this is actually happening. And it does, it happens. The fight scene, Doc Ock pulls up, hello, Peter, and it's fucking amazing. It was actually, the action scene went on a lot, different direction I was expecting. It was actually pretty intense, or going through this highway signs and sort of, going under the bridge and all this shit, throwing cars. It was a really good action scene. And then you get the scene where he pulls him under the bridge and he's like, oh, what the fuck? You're not Peter. You're not Peter Parker. And then he sort of, his nanotech gear takes over Doc Ock, so now he's in control of his arms and everything. He talks to the college admissions girl, gets her safely away. And then this part was kind of strange for me. It's like they're on the highway, and then you hear you see the grenade of the Green Goblin or something like that, and then he comes in. You hear the laugh and then Doctor Strange just sort of pulls Peter Parker back. Like you think the scene's about to continue, but then you just get sucked out, pulled to this completely this chamber, and this is the part of the movie that it was jarring at first, but then I was on board. It's like the whole capturing the villains thing to bring them back to where they came from. This is where he explains I fuck with the spell, fuck with the multiverse. These people know who Peter Parker are. There's many of them. We need to get them all, get them back, redo the spell. And then you got the box thing that sends them back, right? But then the most interesting part happens is when they start collecting them and bringing them back, and it's like, when were you sent back from? You were sent back moments before, Doc Ock was sent back moments before the big energy ball exploded and he died. Green Goblin was sent back moments before. Sorry, he got impaled with the thing and died. All these people, all these people were sent back moments before they were killed by Peter Parker. So obviously they don't want to go back, right? And the best part about this is Tom Holland doesn't want to send them back either. He wants to help them here. That's where his character just changed. This is where his Spider-Man becomes legit, because of choices and moments and decisions he makes. This feels like real Peter Parker, if you know what I'm saying, real Spider-Man, a real character. And it's so interesting watching him try it. He's battling with Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange's like, no. And he's like, fuck this. I'm taking this shit. You can chill out in the fucking mirror realm. I'll use my geometry to get the hell out of here, and you can just chill here for, a good, like, basically 2 acts of the movie. Pull up at the end, but rest of the movie you can just take a chill pill. Is basically what happens, and yeah, we basically get something I was not expecting. Peter Parker trying to help and save all these villains, and try and make them well and good, and that was honestly a really, like, that part surprised me because it wasn't in any of the trailers. It wasn't in any, like, I wasn't expecting that to be a part of the movie. I just wasn't. Now, can't go further without talking about the characters. Doc Ock. So subtle, subdued, very, very great performance by the guy. He embodies the same character that we saw before. He's still got the anger, the confusion, the loss of control. Got Jamie Foxx's Electro. Feels like a much cooler version of Electro. Not like the sort of like wimpy nerd, like afraid of his powers almost, one that's in Amazing Spider-Man 2, but it's like new and improved, he's got more swag, he's more cool, he's like, yeah, I'm Electro, like, he's like, check out the new or some shit like that. He said, I like the new, or like, yeah, that was I'm not gonna go into that. You got the Sandman, you got the Lizard. Am I missing anybody? No, that's everybody. I'm missing one person though. The legend himself, all right? Willem Dafoe, Green Goblin, absolutely steals the show. He transported himself like back 20 years to the original Spider-Man and just like totally embodied the role again. I don't know how he did it, but I feel like he almost did it better. He did a better job than he did in the original movies. Like, he just mastered this role so well. And the scene, like, I swear to God, the perfect scene. If I could pick one perfect scene from this movie, I could pick many. But one of them is the apartment scene, okay? This scene, I don't believe was in any of the trailers because I hadn't, like, watching that whole apartment scene for me was like watching like a brand new shit I'd never seen before. I was not expecting any of that. All right, so you know what I'm talking about. It's the apartment scene, right? He's fixing all of them. He's fixing them all up. There's like a timer going off on Electro's chest. It's like a visual ticking time bomb, letting you know the tension's racking up. Which was amazing, by the way. Like, the way they did that, it's sort of like, okay, they're fixing everyone. So here's Electro's thing. You stick it on. It's got these green buttons. It's slowly reaching the top. It's ticking, just before it gets. But it's also like a visual cue as to when like the tension's like gonna reach its peak, right? And then I gotta say, there was this scene, and it reminded me so much. Like when the scene was on. I was getting literal visual flashbacks to the scene in Logan. You know the scene in Logan when Charles is like freaking the fuck out and he's like, his brain's like shaking, the whole like hotel just starts like vibrating and shit, and everything just goes slow, and then it's just like you just hear like the heartbeat, and then Logan's trying to get the shot to him, so he's like crawling, everything's like vibrating. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just search up that scene. That scene is like reminded me so much of the scene when Peter Parker just like, he's just having a conversation with Doc Ock, and then all of a sudden he just like zones out and everything just goes blurry, and it's just like steady cam on his head, and you just hear like the heartbeat. That shit gave me chills, man. That shit was amazing. I was like, whoa, what the fuck is happening right now? Like, actually, what is happening? But then you realize what's happening. He's sensing something's off in the room. He's sort of going through, it's like a tracking shot, but everything's like blurry, sort of moving in the back. It's perfect. It's so well done. It's him. It's his like Spidey sense, inner Spidey sense showing in a visually interesting way that I enjoyed. And then it's the Goblin and Willem Dafoe. It goes from Norman Osborn to the Green Goblin. Norman's on sabbatical, like, you like, come on, man, like, that's just classic shit right there. Like, come on, bro, stop playing. That whole scene was fucking fantastic. We haven't even got to the good part yet. The good part is when shit goes haywire and like the visual cue, like Electro's thing about to reach, and he fucking rips that shit off, and he just goes absolutely ballistic. All the other people start going ballistic. Like, Green Goblin hypes them up. He's like, you know what, fuck this, like, we're villains, like, let's get the fuck out of here. And this is when shit goes down. This is absolutely when shit goes down, because fucking like, I don't even remember most of the scene. I just remember it being amazing, intense as shit, and Green Goblin pile driving Peter Parker through like 4 or 5 stories of concrete floors before being like, and then he's like in his face, he's like, you're too strong to have it all, or you're too weak to take it, or some shit. Like, just keep giving you banger after banger after banger, like poetry, straight poetry's coming out of this man's mouth. And then Peter's got him against the wall, got him in a corner, he's beating the shit out of him, and I swear to God, it's like I'm watching a parallel of Batman versus the Joker in the interrogation room in The Dark Knight, where Christian Bale is beating the shit out of Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger is just sitting there laughing hysterically like a maniac. I'm getting like visual parallels to that as Tom Holland is beating the fuck out of William Dafoe, punching him in the face, and he's just straight looking at him, laughing menacingly. I swear to God, that shit gave me chills. I swear to God, that like if I like that might be the best scene in the movie. So good, man. Like, the acting, incredible. The intensity in that scene also incredible. The action, incredible. That was a scene I'm glad we didn't see much of in the trailer, and I didn't know about because it caught me off guard. It was a lot of hand-to-hand fist combat. It wasn't a lot of CG, mess, like bombs and webs and all that. It was just straight hand-to-hand brawl, and it was some shit. It was some good shit. Yeah, so Willem Dafoe, I believe, was the best out of all the returning cast members. Makes sense. He sort of takes the lead as the villains because you got Doc Ock sort of getting the chip in him, so he's free from the pains of his tentacle mental trauma going on. So he's like a good guy basically. He's obviously he comes and helps them out at the end. So Willem Dafoe sort of, as the Green Goblin, sort of takes the lead as the main baddie in the movie. And then the other ones, Sandman, Electro Lizard, they kind of just like, they're like his henchmen. They're his goons, basically, ready to cause some havoc. So that scene was fantastic. And then obviously we all know what that scene was followed by: the devastating loss of Aunt May. They do something here where they make Aunt May basically Peter's Uncle Ben. This version of Peter's Uncle Ben. She even says the line, "With great power comes..." She butchered it a little bit, like they tweaked it a little bit. I'm not sure why. I don't remember exactly what she said, but with great power comes great responsibility. She added a word or two in there that was like, when I first heard, I was like, you could just like said it fully. You had to add like one word in there. Nitpick, but I don't know. They could have just kept they didn't have to add anything. I know they added something in there. She said it slightly differently, just ever so slightly differently. But anyways, Green Goblin comes in, fucking kills her, man. Fucking kills her. And it was was not expecting that to happen at all. And you know what? It was a really good scene. It was a really heartbreaking scene, especially seeing Tom Holland come full force with his acting. He really came to play in this movie. There was a lot of moments of intensity, and like, given the tone wasn't that dark, it was still more of an upbeat, sort of adventurous kind of movie. There was some intense moments, and Tom Holland delivered. I gotta say, this is easily his best performance as Spider-Man. Easily, like, blows any other thing he's done out of the water, because he came with the emotion, the intensity, and everything. He came in, devastated when Aunt May's dying, and then Happy pulls up in the truck and he just looks over. That also was really fucking sad. Just see, like, he got there at the worst possible moment to see that, and that whole sequence was just, it was brutal. It was really brutal, and it was much needed, but it also leads into one of the coolest and most beautiful things that the MCU has ever done, with a shot of, Peter Parker standing in front of the billboard, and then it's like, it's still him, he's still being exposed, and it's like neon lights in the city, it's raining on him. Like, it was the first shot in one of the trailers, but it hits different after seeing what came before it, and then just the emotion of that scene. Oh, it's so good. Like someone get me a painting of that scene, like when it just sort of pans out. It's sort of similar to like one of the posters that they had, where it's like him sitting over the ledge of the building with his face everywhere and the neon lights. Yeah, really good shit. But basically, I've talked about the plot. I talked about the part of the plot that I don't really like is how everything gets started. Basically, I talked about sort of beat for beat what really happened in the movie, how I felt about it, some of the best scenes, the characters, the villains. But then we reach the penultimate act. Not the pen. What am I saying? The penultimate is the one before the last. I don't know why I said that. We reached the moment that you came to the theater to see. You came to the theater to see only two people you hope to see from the time that you went into the movie theater and left. And those two people are in this movie. In the most spectacular, first of all, the way they come in, I appreciated. And honestly, like, I kind of, since I sort of knew they were going to be in the movie, I kind of saw it coming as it was happening. Like, you know, they're sitting, MJ, Ned, they're kind of just sitting, chilling. Then he's like, oh, I got this thing. Oh, I could try and find Peter with it. As soon as they started talking about that, it just kind of clicked in my head. Like, if it was going to happen, this would be the way to do it. And then he says, find Peter Parker. And it's like, oh, he just said the name Peter Parker. Like, it has to be, right? And then the thing opens, and it's a dark alleyway, and immediately you just see this figure. And I don't know if anyone else had this reaction, but it just, like, I was just thinking it too much, and then I saw, and you can very clearly see it's not him. It's not Tom Holland. It is a skinny, lankier, big, wide-eyed one. And as soon as that happened, I was just like, holy fucking shit. There's no way they actually did this. There's no way. Then they're calling down the alley. He sort of waddles in. He gets closer and closer and closer, and you realize, not, who the fuck is that? He jumps through. Calm down. I'm Peter Parker. Like, bro, oh my god. Like, yo. Andrew Garfield, man. Andrew fucking Garfield. When he ripped that mask off, theater went crazy. Internally, I was just like, holy shit, this is actually happening. They have their whole interaction, and then, you know, it goes on for like a few minutes, actually. I was thinking, oh, maybe it's just, you know, just Andrew Garfield. But then they try it again. Find Peter Parker, and the other one comes through. Now that I'm actually sitting here thinking about it, technically there's only 3, right? Wait, I just thought of this. There's only 3 of them. So what if, like, on the second try, he found the right one? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what if on the first try he found the right one? They wouldn't have even found the other 2. Like, first one he found Andrew, second one he found Toby. What if the second one he actually found Tom Holland? This movie, maybe, what the fuck would have happened? I don't know. I just thought of that just now. But anyways, still cool the way they did it. Have him coming through. And okay, what I love most about what they did is they didn't just bring them in to be some third act spectacle, come in at the last moment and save the day for some 5-minute cameo or something. No, they come in like with still, like, I think at least like 45 minutes to an hour left of the movie, and they come in as actual side characters. They don't just come in to be cameos. They are characters in the movie, and that is the best possible way. Like, no, that's honestly what blew my mind the most was, no, they're not just in the movie to, like, give a quick speech or be in a vision scene or come give Peter, you know, some advice, or maybe he passes him down the street and he says something to him, but they don't actually know. No, they come in as Spider-Man from their universe and are part of the story. And they come in to help Tom Holland become oh my god, I almost said the best Spider-Man. Almost just slipped out of me. Might be true, but you know what? I'll just say it. Help him become the best Spider-Man. Okay? Listen, you can have your debate on who you think the best person is, you know, but before we even get to any of that, I need to get to this, okay? Andrew Garfield absolutely stole the show. I don't want to say he stole the movie, but I just remember walking out of the movie, and one of the main things that kept going through my mind was Andrew Garfield was fucking great in that movie. Like, we already know how good Toby is as Spider-Man. He feels like In this movie, he feels like he's the oldest. He feels like the old wise man, watching his two young prodigy just, go at it, giving wise words of advice. But Andrew Garfield just was something else in this movie. Like, he has this energy and this like passion. It just shows. It just shows when he's acting. He knows how to embody this character. He embodies it well. He does it with all his heart, it seemed like he put his effort in. Like, he did not come here for the paycheck. He came here to give this to the fans and to maybe to personally himself. Like, maybe, deep down he was really just salty that he didn't, not salty. Maybe he was just, this was a way for him to like process the fact that he never got his third movie, and he just came to play. He just embodied the role so perfectly. It's like he just jumped back into it, but he did it even better. Like, I want this Andrew Garfield Spider-Man in another movie. Like, fuck, man. Like, no matter how bad Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2 were, you cannot deny that Andrew Garfield was the best part of both movies, okay? Arguably, he was one of the best parts of this movie, which is saying a lot, okay? Not to say Tobey wasn't great to see as well, but Andrew just brought some next-level energy that I was not expecting to love so much, and he's so funny. He has his emotional moments. He just truly wanted to do this. He didn't half-ass it at all. Tobey's obviously fantastic. He's, the Spider-Man I grew up with. I think he's a really great actor. Obviously, a different sort of tone. He's more reserved. He's calm. He's quieter. He's a simple man. He's a very humble, simple man. And then obviously Tom's Peter, and the way they all interact is just so. It's like, give me a whole movie of just the three of them, please. Like, that scene when they're in the lab, they're just talking shit, doing stuff. And then the scene when they're on the scaffolding, just talking shit, doing stuff. Like, you could just give it to me all day. I love it. I love it so much. Oh man, their little interactions were fantastic. And this is like a once in a lifetime sort of thing. Like, I said the same thing with Endgame. No, everyone did. It was like, this is once in a lifetime type shit right here. Like, not many people get to see the culmination of an entire universe of movies from like 10, 11, 12 years in the making. This is even longer than that. This is like 21 years in the making or something. Original Spider-Man came out 2002. Fine. 19 years in the making, basically, right? Like, that's insane to me that people like I grew up on those Spider-Man movies, but people were like adults or like early teenagers, young adults when they saw them. I was obviously a kid when I saw them, but like, I can't imagine, being even older and having more time to have appreciated the Tobey version, the Andrew version, and then seeing this is like once in a lifetime type shit. Like I can't think of any other movie events that people, like, characters, universes, like the only types of franchise that we'll be able to do and move and like, I don't want to say inspire, but bring people together and just enjoyment, excitement, and just like thrill like this. Only other franchises I can think of that could do something similar is Star Wars. That's really it. There's no other franchise big enough that's had this much impact or resonation that could pull off something like this in such a spectacular way, as well as have it mean something, because this means so much. This means so much to people who love the originals. This means so much to people who loved Andrew Garfield, especially because they get to see him back. The people who've been fighting for him since day one get to rub dirt in our faces, and they're admittedly probably pretty salty now because everyone's calling for the Amazing Spider-Man 3, and all those people are probably like, hey, we've been calling for this since part 2, and now y'all just riding the bandwagon. I can see that. I feel for those people. And it's also a great time for Tom Holland Spider-Man fans because now they get the full complete trilogy, and we end off on a Tom Holland's version of Spider-Man that feels just like real Peter Parker and Spider-Man, like Andrew Garfield's and Tobey Maguire's. The way it ends off is so like I want to get this out now. It feels like this movie is the last part of a 3-part origin story for for Tom Holland. I don't know if that's been said before, but that's what my thinking is of this. I'm thinking of No Way Home. Sorry, I'm thinking of Homecoming, Far From Home, and No Way Home as that is Tom Holland, Peter Parker's origin story. Fucking even from Civil War, from the first time we saw him to this movie is his origin story. To get from where he was now to Peter Parker, Tobey Maguire, he had Spider-Man 1. That's his origin story. And then the other movies. Andrew Garfield had Amazing Spider-Man 1. That's his origin story. Then he had his other movie. I feel like Tom's origin story has just ended. Now is where we see him continue his journey. Like, I don't know if that makes sense or not. I don't know. Like, let me know what you think about what I just said. But I feel like this whole home, quote unquote, home trilogy, and including what he was in before, Infinity War, Endgame, because all that still built his character, right? But especially more in this movie because of the way that they interact. They come in, the two other Spider-Man, they come in, they share their experiences. They share what it's like to be Spider-Man. They share what it's like to be a hero to people and have responsibilities and take action, and doing the right thing is sometimes not easy, like good people, like the choices we make, just like honestly poetic shit is going down when these three are on screen just talking, and it's filled with so much passion and love from not only the actors but the writers, who understand that this, like, they didn't just throw them on screen for some fan service. They threw them in to serve a purpose to Tom's story, right? And also give some closure to their own stories, like the moment with Andrew Garfield sort of catching MJ, getting his own little moment. We get to hear that Tobey's Spider-Man is, got married to MJ and everything. So, like, it served a purpose even for their own like they can manage to continue and give me new information about Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man that I didn't know, or Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. Some closure for him, with not closure but just his nice emotional moment, right? And holy hell, man, I don't know how else to say it, but the way they handled them two being in the movie to not only serve fans but also serve Tom's story. They didn't come to take light away from him. They came to like give him advice, give him what it means to be, and then you see him at the end leading them. Like, he's the one calling the shots at the end fight scene. It's not Toby, it's not Andrew, it's Tom. He's the one calling the shots. He's, all right, I'm Peter 1, you're Peter 2, you're Peter 3. All right, you're doing this, I'm doing this. Like, he's the man at the end of the day. He became the best Spider-Man at that moment. I guess I'm admitting it right now that he is now the best Spider-Man, okay? But not without the other two, he wouldn't be able to be. Still, I guess I'm saying it out loud for the first time. I think now he is the best Spider-Man. We'll see what happens with his future entries. Maybe he might disappoint me, but from now, he's the best. This was a story worth telling. This was a story worth... The hype was definitely worth it. Like, it was just handled with so much care and passion that I can't even imagine how else. Like, I can't imagine a world where they butchered this, and I'm glad we don't live in that world. I'm glad this was treated with the respect that it deserved, and fans were happy. Like, I don't think anyone didn't like this movie. Like, I don't think there's people, like, sure, people might have problems with the story and everything, but as just the simple fact that Andrew and Tobey were in it, I just think that immediately makes people enjoy it. Even if the movie was bad, but they still treated that element of the story the same way, I think people would have loved it regardless. Obviously, looking back, people will have their opinions, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I just think, like, the way they handled it, the way they didn't just throw them in there. They were characters. They had meanings. They had purposes to further progress the story. Just like character-driven moments like that, just poetic shit. I know I'm saying poetic for a Marvel movie, but it's so much more than that. It's just the story of these three people and the story of what it means to have power and responsibility and be a hero. Like, that's just good stories. It's good storytelling. So you come for. It's fiction. That's what you come for, right? Anyways, I'm not even gonna go into like the big end fight scene. That, like, too many great moments. Actually, I'll go into it a little bit because Man, it was just so cool. There's a scene where they all like huddle up, they team up, they say, and Andrew's like, "I love you guys," and then all three of them start running through. It's like a tracking shot. They all jump down. They're swinging off each other, and they all do their iconic landing in their order. You got Toby lands, he lands like that. Then Andrew lands, and Tom lands, and it's just fucking let's go, bro. Make that my wallpaper yesterday, okay? And they have their whole fight. They start curing all the people, whatever. And there's even moments where you hear the old themes from their own movies. Oh my god, that shit actually gave me chills when you hear Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man theme when he's talking to, like, I think Electro or something. It plays. Then you hear Toby's fucking amazing theme coming through. Toby's got the best theme. I don't care what y'all say. That intro theme with the trumpets and the bongos or whatever the fuck. Oh my god, bro, don't play. He got the best one. Stop playing. You know when he was talking to Doc Ock and those little high notes started hitting. Peter, my boy, it's been so long. Like, bro, like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm watching this. I can't believe I'm seeing this. Right? It's like I don't know, man. This is just shit that you don't get to experience very often, so you just gotta appreciate it and admire it while it's here. And I'm sure people are gonna do that for this. People are gonna admire this movie, the hell out of this movie for years, for decades probably. This is a monumental event. This is a monumental movie. There's no other way to put it. This is a monumental movie event. I think right now is seventh highest grossing movie of all time. No pandemic. I think this beats Endgame, honestly, because even if you don't like the Marvel movies, you'd still want to go see this, I feel like, because like I'm sure there are people out there who saw Tobey Maguire, saw Andrew Garfield, they like Spider-Man. Maybe they don't necessarily like Marvel movies, but they like Spider-Man, and with all the speculation and rumors, I could easily see it doing better than Endgame. Bearing no pandemic, maybe that's a reach, maybe that's a stretch. Endgame I think made like 2.7 or close to 3 billion, or maybe I'm off. But I could see, let's just put it this way. If it wasn't a pandemic, I could see it being higher, like top five. I don't know what the other one are. I think it's Titanic and Avatar. I don't know. I could see it being much higher, no pandemic. But the fact that it got there in a pandemic regardless, impressive. Well, impressive isn't even impressive because everyone knew it was going to happen. I don't know if it's impressive, but it's great to see. It's great to see. People just... I gotta respect the marketing team for not spoiling anything. I want to say it's the worst kept secret of all time, but it's not by any fault of theirs because they did all they could. Andrew was lying his ass off for interview after interview after interview. Man put out a whole Netflix movie, some musical thing, and all anyone wanted to do was ask him about Spider-Man, and he denied. Like, mad respect to that. And if it wasn't for the people online leaking it, no one would have known because they did such a good job at hiding it. So, I have so much respect for the marketing team. I have so much respect for the people behind the camera who wrote this shit, who fucking made it happen and treated it with care. This wasn't Rise of Skywalker. Fuck me, this wasn't Rise of Skywalker, okay? Like, fuck, you don't do shit like that. You want a bad example of fan service? Watch that movie. Rise of Skywalker, Rise of dog shit, okay? Look, I've talked about this movie. Last thing I need to talk about is the ending, because the ending hit a lot of people. It hit me deep, and I had my concerns, I had my questions, because as we, the more I start thinking about it, I'm actually convincing myself how it makes sense the more I think about it. But initially I was like, how does this really make sense? Because as we all know, at the end he makes everyone forget who he is. Because he has to do the right thing. He can't pick and choose. You got to be careful what you wish for. So you know what? Just make everyone forget. Let's end this whole ordeal, right? Let's end this whole ordeal, and everyone forgets who he is. So the thing that was going through my mind was like, okay, so now no one knows who Peter Parker is, but people still know who Spider-Man is. So I guess anyone who has seen Peter Parker as Spider-Man doesn't know who he is, right? So at first that didn't really make sense to me, but then I started thinking about it before recording this. I was like, maybe it actually does make sense. Maybe it's just, okay, so like how in Endgame, I'm pretty sure in Endgame he interacted with a few people without his mask. I think like one for sure I remember was Captain Marvel, because I remember she says, she was like, "Hey, Peter Parker," or something. They had an injury. Yeah, he hands her the glove, I think, and he's like, "Hey, Peter Parker, want to give me that glove?" or something stupid. I think he had his mask off at that point. So let's just say for that interaction, let's say she remembered him. Now let's say she forgets who Peter Parker is. Would she would, my thing is she would remember saying that to him or seeing him, but not remembering what he looked like. That's what I'm getting from this. But no, because that's why I keep going back and forth with this, because like MJ and stuff don't know who he is at all. But if they know who Spider-Man is, okay, so if you know who Spider-Man is, because now all the Avengers don't know who Spider-Man is, right? But I have written down your MCU future because I feel like this is almost their way of getting him out of the picture. Like, out of the MCU picture. Like, move on to your own thing. Normally you'd think, oh, it'd be like get him his own story, his own origins, and then bring him in with everybody. He was in with everyone from the jump, from Civil War. Now it's sort of like we're taking him out. He's living on his own now. He's got his, rusty ass apartment, living on his own, swinging through the city just like OG Spider-Man. But he doesn't. He's not part of the Avengers anymore because obviously no one will remember him, right? MJ doesn't remember him. Ned doesn't remember him. He's on his own. He's on his ones. I don't know if those other characters will even come back. I don't see a need for them to come back if he has no relationship or interaction with them. I don't think they will come back, honestly. But the thing is, the Avengers still know who Spider-Man is. So wouldn't they still want to Thor and not Thor? Who is like Doctor Strange? Does he not have memory of doing the spell? Will he still remember? Because he remembers himself doing a spell to make everyone forget who he is, including himself. I think he said that in the movie. Everyone will forget who you are, including me. So is he going to remember doing the spell or not? And if he doesn't, well, I guess, okay, let's just say he doesn't remember doing it. He still fought with him in Infinity War. Will he just forget? No, because he'll still remember fighting with Spider-Man, but is he just not going to question who that is? Or anytime he saw him? It's a weird logistical thing that I'm sure if you broke it down like explicitly and explained it to me, I would understand it. But just thinking surface level, it confuses me a little bit. The whole wiping your memory of somebody thing, especially when you've already interacted with them and like all these major events happened that they were involved in. It just feels weird. It's hard to wrap my head around, I guess. I don't know if I'm overcomplicating it or being too nitpicky, but that's just what it is. I really like the ending though. I like the ending of him going in his apartment. Just, it's rusty ass. He makes his new suit, swings through. Can't wait to see that new suit in action, by the way. It looks sick just from those final swinging moments. It was a really emotional ending. But then as I started thinking about it, I'm like, how does this really work? Like, MJ was saved by him in Homecoming in an elevator. Does she remember Spider-Man saving her in an elevator? And just not remember? Or like in Far From Home when she's like, oh, I know you're Spider-Man. Like, I know you've been Spider-Man this whole time. Now she just doesn't think that? Does she just not remember having a classmate that she kissed after? Like, that's the thing. I just don't know how the logistics of it all work. Like, they were literally FaceTiming on a call. Would she remember not doing that? Would they forget, the events that they were doing with that person? Or would they still remember the events they were doing, just not remember the person they were with? Because they were because the whole reason that she was with him, and then Mysterio exposed him, and then they swung through the skies together and she held on to him. Does she not remember? She must remember swinging through the skies with him, with Spider-Man, but does she just not know who it is? That's okay, I could go in a rabbit hole so I'm gonna stop. Anyways, all right, so I basically talked about everything I wanted to talk about. I missed off a few things, obviously the fight between Peter and the Green Goblin at the end was fucking fantastic. Just watching Peter go fucking ape shit on his ass, and then, you know, Toby comes in, holds the blade like without saying a single word, and sort of just stops him like with his eyes and his strength. Just, that was a really good moment too. Really good acting by Tobey Maguire. Just didn't say a word, but his face said, you know, his face said it all. All right, so, you know, I think we talked about this movie enough. With all my gripes I have with it, it doesn't matter. It was all about that one thing that we all wanted to see, and we saw it, and it delivered in every good possible way. This is one for the ages. This is a future superhero classic that no one's gonna forget. No one's gonna not talk about this movie. Like, this and Endgame, like, are up there in like S tier modern, like, pop culture phenomenons. Like, you don't get to see shit like this very often. I'm so glad I'm living in this time. Like, man, this is just fucking amazing. It's just amazing. It's amazing for movie fans, comic book fans, superhero fans, fans of any of these actors, fans of movies, fans of just exciting stuff. Like, it's just awesome. But with all that being said, we got some work to do, because I want to end this off by ranking all the Spider-Man movies. Now, I've thought about this a few times, and I think I know how I want to go about this. Now, I'm going to start this by saying, am I going to include the Venom movies? You know what? Sure, fuck it. I'll include the Venom movies. Why not? They're technically in the Spider-Man universe. Oh, I didn't even talk about the end credit scene. The end credit scene kind of pissed me off, low key. Like, Let There Be Carnage post credit scene. He comes in. You think he's gonna be in that universe now, but then in No Way Home post credit scene, he just comes. He's sitting at a bar in that universe, and then he gets sent back, and just a little bit of symbiote gets left over. So is Tom Hardy not gonna face Tom Holland? Can't believe I forgot to mention that. That was kind of weird to me. Like, why they brought him in so he could drop a piece of thing and then leave. That was kind of weird to me. But I mean, it makes sense because he sent them all back, so he would have also had to go back. But I'm kind of underwhelmed by that, or just kind of like disappointed. Like, oh, so we're not gonna see him? I thought we were gonna see him, but damn. Okay, I guess we're not gonna see him. But I mean, technically now he's part of that universe. That Venom is part of that universe. So maybe somehow the symbiotes will connect. I don't really know. I don't really know what to make of that post-credit scene. But anyways, back to what we were saying. Let's include the Venom movies in this. So I'm just going to get the rundown of what we're going through here. Spider-Man 1, the original, 2002. Then we got Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 3. What's after Spider-Man 3? A long hiatus until The Amazing Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man 1. Then, obviously, Amazing Spider-Man 2. Then what do we get? Alright. Then we got the two Venom movies. V1, V2 Carnage. Then what do we got? We got the trilogy. The Tom trilogy. Homecoming. I'm just going to write Coming. Far From Home. And No Way. Finally, Into the Spider-Verse. Which, by the way, Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, I'm fucking hyped as shit for that movie. That movie looks fucking amazing. The animation team on that movie, like, yo, give them $1 million, please. Like, bro, like, the animation in Into the Spider-Verse is immaculate. It is insane. Let's rank these. From worst to the best. Realistically, okay, I don't know. For the bottom two is an easy choice. It's very obvious what the bottom two are. It's just a matter of which one do I want to put at the bottom. It's either Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage, or Amazing Spider-Man 2. I feel like I want to put Let There Be Carnage at the very bottom, but I also want to put Amazing Spider-Man 2. But you know what? Amazing Spider-Man 2, has Andrew Garfield in it. It's got his amazing performance. Venom 2 has Tom Hardy. It has Woody Harrelson acting like a fucking idiot. Some other wasted characters. It's too short. It's too stupid. It's so stupid. Venom goes to a rave. Yeah, why am I even talking about this? V2 is the worst. Worst one by far. Okay? Then Amazing Spider-Man 2. So Venom 2, Amazing Spider-Man 2. Alright, so that's gone. That's gone. What's next? Okay, as much as... Listen, this might surprise you, but I actually don't like Far From Home that much. I think Far From Home is kind of lame. I don't like the whole school trip aspect. It feels way too kiddish. Like, doesn't feel like teenagerish. Like, I don't know. The teenagers in the Tobey movies feel like not even teenagers, but then these ones feel like kids almost. Like the whole Ned and the girl thing. Like, I don't know. It feels too kiddish for me. That's just my honest thoughts on Far From Home. I don't know. I don't really like it that much. I think Jake Gyllenhaal's great as the villain. I think him giving him the glasses is very stupid. I don't like that at all. Even just the fact that Tony Stark gave him the glasses is kind of a dumb choice. But anyways, whatever. So my next spot is either going to, I'm just going to say it out loud, Far From Home or Amazing Spider-Man 1. Now, Amazing Spider-Man 1, I haven't seen that much, actually. I think I've probably seen that the least out of all these. I watched Amazing Spider-Man 2 recently, actually, believe it or not, which is how I had to confirm that it was, I was easily able to confirm how low it was. I just remember Amazing Spider-Man 1 being just boring. But you know what? At least it had Andrew Garfield in it. And Emma Stone, great actress, and a pretty mediocre lame villain, just a giant lizard, like, okay, like just another scientist trying to create some, thing. You know what? I'm gonna bite the bullet here. Next up on the list from worst, Far From Home. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. It's Far From Home, and then Amazing Spider-Man 1. Just because Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone just are great, and I just don't like Far From Home. I don't know what it is. I could go into it. I have to like really collect my thoughts. I just don't really like it that much. I don't. I think like the reveal at the end is good. There's some good scenes here and there, yes, but just overall as a movie, I don't enjoy it that much. And what it does for Peter's character, I just can't appreciate. Anyways, so we got rid of those two. So right now, from worst to best, Venom: Let There Be Carnage, Amazing Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man Far From Home, Amazing Spider-Man 1. Oh shit, I'm forgetting Venom 1 here. How could I forget Venom 1? But if I'm being completely honest here, I don't think it matters that I miss it that much because I think it goes next. I think the first Venom movie, being as hated as it is, I think it's a good average movie. It is not terrible. I think the second movie is abysmal, but first one's just an average. It's just average. Like I don't understand why it was like this is the worst fucking movie I've ever seen in my life. It has like 20 some Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, it's not a great movie, but it's just like it's average. It's average. Tom Hardy's fucking great though, and the effects are cool. Like it's funny seeing him like sort of all disheveled, like going through it is funny. Like, the side characters are funny. I'm compelled to put it next. People are really gonna be mad that I put Venom 1 over Spider-Man Far From Home. Aren't they? Yeah, they are. But you know what? I don't care. Fuck it. Venom 1 goes next. I don't even care. That's what I'm saying. Next up. Okay, I think from here on out it's pretty easy. Next up for me, Homecoming. I'm sorry if I don't think... Listen, I know Spider-Man 3 ain't a lot of people's cup of tea, but like I said, I grew up with it, so I'm not even going to try and say like I don't have bias. Of course I have bias. I still think it's a good movie, though. I enjoy it. It's fun. It's exciting. It's funny. There's lots of great action scenes. I love the Sandman as a villain. Obviously, Venom was rushed and forced in, but there's this... Venom was fucked, but like he was still cool in the movie. Listen, it's cheese to the extreme at some points. There's so many terrible lines, but that's what makes it so funny and so rewatchable and so enjoyable. Like, look, a little Goblin Jr. Gonna cry? Like, fuck me. Bully Maguire, fucking, the beginning scene with him and Harry sort of flying through the buildings, Harry getting the concussion, the fight in the apartment, the first Sandman fight, the birth of Sandman scene, the Gwen Stacy, like, fucking crane scene. The whole last act of the movie is amazing. Harry dying, Flynn, turning back, killing Venom, Eddie Brock. Like, it's kind of a mess, but it's also just enjoyable and fun, and I just like it. Which is why it's going next on the list, because I can't in good faith put it above any of these other ones, but I can put it above the rest. So Spider-Man 3 is next. I'm sorry that I put Spider-Man 3 over Homecoming and Far From Home. It just is what it is. I just do not enjoy Homecoming and Far From Home as much. Homecoming is a really good movie. Don't get me wrong. I like Homecoming. I think after Venom 1 is where I'm like, okay, these are really good movies. Everything before that, I could live without. Well, I couldn't live without, but like I don't give a fuck about, really. I just don't think they're great movies, but basically Homecoming is great. I love Michael Keaton as the villain. I love the twist. I love the whole Iron Man tie-in. I love like the high school aspect that doesn't feel too stupid. Like in Far From Home, like the Europe trip just feels like so goofy and dumb. Like, I don't know. I liked it more when they're just like in high school or whatever doing their shenanigans, and then I like him trying to learn about his suit and his powers, and then the twist is amazing, and Michael Keaton's a great actor, and the final fight's pretty cool, and just the comedy works. You got the Iron Man cameos every here and there. The boat scene's really great. Homecoming, great movie. It's a great movie. I don't love it. It's a great movie. So anything basically above Homecoming is I great stuff. So far we got Venom, Let There Be Carnage, Amazing Spider-Man 2, Far From Home, Amazing Spider-Man 1, Venom 1, Homecoming, Spider-Man 3. This is where shit gets difficult. Because now, man, I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm always, this is not a diss to, fuck. Do I want to do this though? It's such a good movie. Into the Spider-Verse is such a good movie. Like, I really love this movie, right? But ranking it with the other live actions, I feel like I'm always going to take the side of a live action movie over an animated movie. But I feel like in this case, I don't know if I can. Just for that reason, because it's still such a good movie. And this is a special case because the animation is so fucking good, bro. Every frame of this movie looks like straight out of a comic book. Like genuinely it does. This is tough. So I want to say Spider-Verse and then Spider-Man 1. God, I don't know. This is tough because the thing about, Spider-Man 1 is it started it all, and Willem Dafoe's so fucking good. That end battle scene is fucking fantastic. It's gritty, it's dark, it's the origin story, it's the Uncle Ben, it's all of it. I love that movie so much. So Into the Spider-Verse has to go next. Into the Spider-Verse. Then Spider-Man 1. Then here's where we make or break things. Spider-Man 2 or No Way Home, which one is the best movie? Look, as many flaws as No Way Home has in the story or joke or whatever department you want to pick at, it's the culmination. It's the culmination. Man, like I can't, like, don't get me wrong, Spider-Man 2 is fucking fantastic, but don't get it twisted. This is the culmination, my friends. So I think it has to be said that Spider-Man 2 goes second, No Way Home goes first. I think think that's what I'm feeling right now. I think as of right now, that's what I'm feeling. Maybe after a rewatch, I might be like, maybe I rewatched the movie a few times. Like, this movie kind of blows. I kind of just want to fast forward to when Toby and Andrew show up. I kind of want to fast forward the first 30 minutes. I just want to see Doc Ock. I want to see fuck all the college shit. I just, maybe that's what I'll think. But as it stands right now, it's just the way all the characters work and the story works together. Perfect. Spider-Man 2, not to be dismissed at all, okay? Some people say it's the greatest comic movie of all time, Spider-Man 2. I don't know how I feel about that, but it's a damn good movie with a damn good villain, a damn good story, damn good action scenes. That whole train sequence, perfect. Absolute perfection in any superhero movie I've ever seen. I think we've crafted a pretty good list here. Starting from worst to best, all the Spider-Man movies ranked from worst to best. Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage, Amazing Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man Far From Home, Amazing Spider-Man 1, Venom 1, Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man 3, Into the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man No Way Home. I think that does it. I think that's our final ranking. I want to say, if you made it this far, thank you so much for listening or watching. Let me know your thoughts down below. What's your ranking of all the movies? What are your thoughts on No Way Home? What movie or show do you want me to talk about on this next? This is a free-flowing discussion on all things film and TV. Please, if you did enjoy, leave a like, subscribe, come back for more content very, very soon. I enjoed this. I enjoyed just sitting talking about movies. It's just what I like doing. So, I enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoyed it too. Got nothing really else to say except I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.